This conference will now be recorded.
First off, I just wanted to thank everyone for tuning in this evening, taking the time out of your busy schedule to hopefully get some useful information. Also want to thank anyone who has tuned in previously, and then also too, for anyone who does check out these videos in the future, we appreciate you as well. For whatever reason you guys would like to review it, any of these videos, we do send out a follow-up email the following week that does contain a link to all the recordings. But for whatever reason, if you did misplace that email, you mistakenly deleted it, anything like that, you can check out these recordings on Dupaco's YouTube page. So you just want to hop on YouTube. In the search bar, you're actually going to type in flat dollar. So that's one word. It's FLATDOLLAR, and that'll bring you to Dupaco's YouTube page. So not only can you view the 6 recordings from this web series, but there is a lot of other cool or useful videos out there. There's a lot of good content. So definitely check out the YouTube page. Again, that is flat dollar. You just want to search that on YouTube, and that'll bring up again these videos and some other cool stuff that we have for you. So tonight's session, preparing for the future. This is a really cool one. I'm excited to kind of go over this. So the previous recordings, we had kind of talked about some different financial topics. So I know we covered budgeting, savings, credit, debt consolidation, how to be smart with your money, and then also purchasing a home or a vehicle. Okay, so now that we have some basic information and we have that foundation kind of laid out, we know the different components and variables that may or may not go into impacting those different things. Now we can take all that information and we can kind of start to organize and compile and figure out ways for us to achieve our financial goals, or how to make sure that we have a solid foundation at the end and we're doing what we want to do with our lives here. So preparing for the future, it's really cool. This is kind of coming full circle that I talked about. So tonight we are just going to kind of talk about some different things that you can kind of do to help you throughout this process. Some different steps that could be valuable to you kind of helping figure out what you're trying to do. So preparing for the future, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to switch over to the slides so you guys can see that full screen here. Preparing for the future can mean a lot of different things depending on who you're asking, and also what kind of stage of life you're at, how old you are, what you're trying to do. So me personally, in the future, I plan on having kids, and one of my financial goals is I want to be able to help them pay for education or schooling in the future. So myself, what am I doing right now to make sure that goal, or that kind of avenue that I'm trying to get to, what am I doing to make sure that I am achieving that goal and I'm going to be able to easily obtain that and help my situation out. So that could be my future goal or my plan. Someone else, maybe their goal is to retire at the age of 50. So what are you doing to make sure that you are successfully going down that path and you're able to get to that point when you want to be able to do that? Okay. So we're going to talk about some different things, some different steps, and what we can kind of do to, again, once we figure out our plan, where we're going to go from there. So just starting off, a lot of the times when I meet with members face-to-face, or nowadays a lot more over the phone or virtually, after getting to know them, I always like to follow up after our casual conversation and introductions. What kind of financial goals do you have? That way it better helps me understand them a little bit better as a person, and then also which route I'm going to kind of go into helping guide them to what they're specifically trying to do. So it's really important. And sometimes, you might not have a goal at that time. And that's why it is, a really good idea. Also, too, we're going to be talking about a lot of ways to kind of figure out your goals and how to achieve those. But to kind of just, ask yourself that, look in the mirror and say, hey, what do I have for a financial goal? Where do I see myself in 5 years, or even 10, or even 20? I know it seems like it's a light years away, and some people are even, well, hey, Pete, we got to get through 2020 first before I start worrying about that stuff. But time flies. The older we get, it just kind of seems like, it just, life just keeps coming at you. It's not slowing down here. So a lot of what we've talked about in the past, and just kind of again tying it back into this, is just how to kind of set up a plan for us to do this smart, efficiently. When it comes to finances, another thing that I do preach often is being proactive. So a lot of the times I will do presentations, typically for kids just getting out of high school. They're looking to start like their first career. They might even be looking at continuing education. And I really like to drill in the fact that, okay, with you being at that age, 18, 19, you might still be living at home, or you might be driving your first car where you don't have a payment for it. You might have money in your savings right now. Okay, everything is going awesome right now in this instant. But with finances and just life in general, we always have to be prepared, and we have to have some sort of plan of attack or outline or action, in case anything doesn't go according to plan. So a lot of the times, this stuff is important to be working on right now for something we're trying to do in the future. So again, if we know like, hey, maybe I want to be able to get my credit up so I can buy a vehicle and have an affordable interest rate. Maybe I'm trying to do this within the next 6 months to a year. That is kind of the time frame you should be starting this. Or if maybe the roof needs to be replaced on the home, or you maybe have an appliance that's kind of been on the fritz. It's important to kind of just be aware with yourself and your surroundings, and kind of try and identify these things proactively. And then also too with finances, it's a continuous thing that we need to keep up on and review and ask questions and get help with. I mentioned before, depending on what stage of life you are in, is really going to determine, your plan of attack or the different goals that you have and things of that sense. So kind of going back into this, 3 steps that we have. The first one is just being a vision. We have to have an idea. All this stuff starts with a plan of where we kind of see ourselves. Maybe you see yourself in 50 years living out of the country, vacationing a lot. Maybe you're being solo about it, and you just have those goals or those dreams or values to travel and get out and do those things. Maybe you have a vision of having a family someday and owning your home and having it paid off and being able to retire in the future, and everything that you worked hard for and everything that you saved for is protected and invested, so you have that peace of mind. So it all kind of starts with that process right there initially, getting that idea of where you see yourself, that vision you have, again, your financial goals. And I know I said 5, 10, 20 years, but I feel like it's easier, and I'm going to talk about this a little bit more here as we go on, about breaking these things down, the smaller. Sometimes when we try and do too much with finances or even life in general, it just kind of becomes overwhelming, and it's sometimes seems like it's too much, and maybe we're not seeing that progress initially right off the bat, and it's discouraging us from reaching our goals. So things to keep in mind: staying proactive, continuously reviewing this information, asking for help, asking for questions. After we have our vision, now it's time to figure out our goals a little bit more specifically. Okay, so one thing that we kind of teach at Dupaco are SMART goals. And SMART goal it's an acronym. So it's broken down by this visual that you guys are looking at here. So a specific, measurable, obtainable, realistic, and a time-bound goal. Okay, so it lays it out right there for you. And like I said prior to this, the more we're able to break down goals, the easier it is to see progress. And those small wins, multiple small wins, will lead us into a larger victory in the end, so to speak. So right off the bat, specific goal. And again, these goals, whatever you're trying to do, it might be based on values that you have, the vision that you're trying to achieve. But a specific goal, let's just go with saying that we want to be debt free in 10 years. So we have stated exactly what we are trying to do or what needs to be done. We're trying to get rid of the debt. Okay. That is the objective for our example of what we're going to kind of use for this tonight. Okay. So measurable. We need to identify how we are going to measure or we're going to see results or view progress of this. Okay. So an instance for the example with us trying to get out of debt. Um, like we talked about before, first we need to see what kind of debts we have out there, and then also how much money we're going to throw at those things. So again, all coming back to our first session, going over a budget, knowing what we can afford to pay. After all our bills are said and done, now we're looking at, again, taking care of those debts. So how much extra money do we have left over to kind of help us with this? We maybe want to organize our debts, like I talked about in our managing debt session. So we maybe want to organize those from highest to lowest interest rate or highest balance to lowest, depending on what method we're using for repaying those debts. So we have to be able to track progress, essentially, is what measurable is getting at here. Obtainable. So we are going to determine steps to reach the goal. Okay. So also achievable. How are we going to accomplish this? Well, we are going to make sure that we're making our payments. After we've figured out our plan on how much we can afford to make those payments, we are going to continue to attack those aggressively. We're going to pay those things down. Any extra money that we get, and you can review this information too by checking your credits, also looking at your mobile app or just getting your bank statements. You can kind of see that information and then that progress as it's going on as you're actually doing the action of paying the debt down. Okay. Realistic or relevant. So do these goals that we're trying to achieve align with our long-term objectives or our vision that we initially started with? Okay. So if we are trying to get out of debt, probably don't want to be tempted by other things to go on vacations at this point in time, to buy maybe things we don't absolutely need but want. So are they working against the main objective of what we're trying to do? And then also too, realistic. So if I were to say, I had $100,000 worth of debt and my specific or smart goal is to have that paid off in 2 years, I know just with what I make and the other obligations I have out there, it's not a realistic goal. So when we're not setting realistic goals or we're maybe hyping them up a little bit too much, we have higher expectations. And, with the example I just gave you about me having $100,000 worth of debt I'm trying to pay off within a year or two, again, there's no way physically possible I would be able to achieve that. So I'm already setting myself up for failure. And you might be able to handle the goals or stay on track for a little bit, but if it's unrealistic that you could achieve that, I'm not saying that anything isn't possible, but again, we have to kind of live within reality with finances to an extent. And we have to make sure that these things are not only relevant to the big picture, but they're also realistic, and we will be able to achieve those, with hard work, time, and effort that we're putting in there. So, final one, time. When will you meet the goal? So what I said in the beginning is I wanted to have all my debts paid off within 10 years. Okay. So there's the timing aspect of that. So again, this is kind of a great outline. It seems a little bit simplistic, but honestly, I have used this SMART module, and again, like I say, and that's what I kind of would suggest this to you guys as well. Just the more you can break down those goals, the better I was able to kind of stick to the plan, stay on schedule. If anything did come up, Again, that was just kind of like a weekly goal I set for myself. I was able to adapt or make changes or implement different things to making sure that I'm still going ahead and, being able to make those goals in a timely manner. So again, SMART, are they specific? Are they measurable, obtainable, realistic? And then we have to have a time frame on there to make sure that we are actually completing the goal. Okay. A couple other tips with SMART goals. I know from personal experience and just with talking with some other people out there as well. Sometimes it's easier to say these things in our head and keep these things to ourselves. But I have found out that me personally writing these things down can really crystallize that image of what I'm trying to do, and I can really get repetitive and basically brand that into my mind to make sure that I'm not losing sight. And I kind of have a little book and I just write into it. I have it now at home with me since I'm working from home with everything going on. But I did have it at my computer at the office, and I would just make sure every day I would write out that weekly goal that I had, and I would just get repetitive and redundant with it. And I would just make sure I would instill that image in my mind. And that seemed to work for me. So I like to kind of share those things. Obviously, it might work for me, it might not work for you guys, but just wanted to give you a little bit of feedback about those personal experiences with myself. And then also too, accountability. I talked about how it's kind of easy to, keep these goals in your head or keep them to yourself. But when you do that, you don't really have anyone to push you besides yourself. So if you are a motivated person, that might work out okay for you. You might be great with just setting that goal. But if you're someone like myself, I need a little bit more accountability. Social media is kind of a way of life now. Post your goal right on a status, right on Facebook or your Twitter, or if you do a blog or anything like that. Let everyone know what you're trying to do. Tell people if you have a really good friend that you trust or a family member that is a really good motivating factor and mentor for you. Let them know that. That way, people see that stuff. Everyone's on social media. How many that get viewed? But basically, it's a way to hold accountability or have accountability held on yourself. You might be walking down and someone saw your status and they might be like, "Hey Pete, how's that going for you with saving up for that education for your kids?" And if I haven't done anything, or I didn't think anyone saw that status, now there's a little bit more pressure on me to hold up my end of what I was trying to achieve. So again, writing these things down, repeating them, getting in a habit of kind of talking about these things. And then also the accountability factor, let people know what you're trying to do. Be confident, be proud of what you're trying to achieve. And just kind of let those things be known to those people out there. So that's kind of all I have about the SMART goals. So if we're actually going to go back, I'd like to pull up the screen here where we were at before. Perfect, preparing for the future. So first two steps I had talked about here, the vision and then setting the goals. So I'm just going to scroll a little bit further down the page here. So after we've been kind of on our path, we've determined our goals, we've been working on these things, let's just say for a few weeks to a few months now. We can track the progress, but it is a really good idea to maybe get a professional to kind of help with reviewing the information or kind of checking your progress or even helping with some guidance. A lot of benefits to being a member with Dupaco here. So a lot of different tools, a lot of different benefits that we offer to kind of help people out with reviewing this information, making sure they are up to what they have been trying to achieve. Really good stuff. So I mean, if you're looking to maybe get help with the budgeting or savings, like myself or even Tony too in the past, along with predominantly anyone who's member facing, so helping out members when they come into the branch. We're all trained in being able to provide money makeovers. So the money makeover is kind of the onslaught of what we talked about, helping you to ratchet up the budget, get the savings established, kind of that credit overview. So those are kind of some of the initial starting points of finances that we talked about. Retirement accounts. So you've worked your whole life, now it's time to retire, or maybe your for whatever reason didn't offer at the time a 401k or an option for retirement. Luckily for you, Dupaco does offer different retirement accounts for individuals. We have options, kind of programs, which I'd like to talk about, launchpad savings. So this is for anyone who is maybe a little bit younger. Always a great time to start saving for retirement. You're never too young or too old to start. Okay. So maybe if you are a little bit younger, and when I was 18, again, that's why I'm kind of going this route. Why would I need to think about retiring? I still have 40, 50 years of work. I'm not going to worry about it. Maybe if you're someone who's like I was and just, uneducated on how important it was at that time, there are different options out there and there are different things you can do. So if maybe you are like, I have heard the importance of retiring or having a retirement account, maybe I want to start to contribute a little bit now. The Launchpad savings account is a great option. What it is it's a savings account you can put money into. And then eventually, once you save up to enough, we can then roll that over for you at a later date into an IRA. Also, too, if you are kind of past that stage where you have the funds to kind of already start an individual retirement account, something of that nature, then we do have those as well, those options for you too. So some great products that we do have there. Insurance. I don't know if you guys are aware, but Dupaco does have an insurance department. So again, talking back here, maybe we've gotten to the point in our lives where we've paid off our home, we've paid off our car. Our children are having children, we're grandparents. We want to make sure that we are insuring and protecting not only ourselves, but others in our lives, but also the assets and the net worth that we've established over time. So Dupaco, you have the ability to get quoted for insurance, and we do all the above. We have auto, home, life, list goes on. So definitely, if you guys weren't aware, you can get a free quote. You can hop right on to dupaco.com. There's a section right there that does say insurance. You can click there. You can drop them a line, and someone will get back to you in a timely manner. So again, protection. We have to make sure that we are insuring ourselves from, again, life happening. It's been kind of the ongoing theme. We never know what could happen tomorrow. I know it sounds scary, and it's not meant to scare anyone, but again, it's just meant to make you guys be proactive, to think about these things. And again, life does happen, so we just have to be prepared for any unexpected or any uncertain events that might happen. Okay. Another awesome thing that Dupaco offers, Dupaco's financial service. So what these guys do is they provide different investment guidance. And that's anything along the lines of 401k distribution options, help going over information with mutual funds, annuities, anything like that kind of falling under that category. One of the big difference makers with Dupaco, and one of the things we really pride ourselves in, is member service. So unlike some other financial services or companies out there, this isn't just a one and done meeting. It's not where you come in one time, you meet someone on the staff, they take your information, they help you with the guidance, they set you up with what you're trying to do, and then you never hear from them again. No, they are regularly checking in with you. You have their information where if anything ever does come up, you can get in touch with them. Obviously, we are local. We have ways to chat with people who are outside of the Dubuque, Cascade areas. So again, just a great kind of benefit that you have that gets a little bit more in depth with some of the more prominent things that we need to be worrying about along the lines, like I had stated, with 401k, mutual funds, annuities, things like that. Wealth management, another important thing, always important to review this. So Dupaco, we actually partner up with First Community Trust to offer this kind of to our members. So these guys, along the lines of, let's say you had maybe IRA or retirement at a different employer and you have left the company, and that IRA or that retirement or 401k is kind of limbo. So they kind of help consult with rollovers, rolling those things over so you can continue to contribute to those. That way, we're not tempted to withdraw early, because we all know there are huge penalties for that, sock you with a lot of fees. So they're a great way just to kind of get some guidance, to get some information on what you're specifically trying to do and what would be a beneficial route for your specific needs. And then also too, fraud and identity theft. So these two things, they are on the rise. They have been over the last few years. Unfortunately, it's kind of the norm that we're living in these days, and we have to go about protecting ourselves. So I know Dupaco, we have a really great service. We offer it through a third-party company. I believe it's $1.95 a month. Some of the things that are offered with this is they do scanning of social security numbers, so they notify you of any changes going on, anyone trying to use that information. You can upload your debit and credit card as well as your driver's license on that site to be notified. I do believe the initial time you get like a free kind of scan check throughout the internet just to see if your information has been recently used or compromised. And then also too, we have a lot of other additional services. So to all the members out there, anyone familiar with this, BrightTrack, if you are a member with our mobile app, you have access to not only update your credit score to make sure that is staying consistent or even better going up, but it also does alert you of any time the credit is ran. So we do send you a notification just to kind of better help you out with that. Also too, online banking, our mobile app, we have a lot of really cool e-services, so electronic services, notifiers. You can set these up. We have kind of standard ones you can set up. You can customize. You can be alerted of any time you sign into your bank account, anytime money's coming out of your account. If your balance falls below a certain limit or balance, anything like that, just to better protect yourself. And then also too, like we talked about in our second session, credit history lessons. We definitely encourage you guys to be reviewing the credit. I would encourage you a couple times a year. You got to do it at least once a year. This is a great way to not only just look at the number, but actually go over the report. The information on the report is going to be what is used to make up your credit score. So if we're only paying attention about the number, maybe we have a 720, but if we would have looked on the credit report, maybe we would have noticed an error on the credit bureau's part that they reported. Or maybe we're noticing an account that was opened in your name that you did not authorize, and maybe that 720 should actually be a 780, and you're missing those points. Well, what we talked about prior is your credit is impacting a lot of different things that we're doing in this day and age. It determines how much you pay in interest, how much you can borrow, if you can borrow at all. So, I mean, again, we got to make sure that we're protecting on those different things. Fraud, identity theft, unfortunately, it is a reality. But like I said, we do have different tools, not only just for that, but everything that we talked about tonight about preparing for the future. A lot of good information that we covered. I could talk all night about it. What this was meant to be is just kind of get you guys some juices flowing, some brain activity. If you don't have any, financial plans coming up here, maybe this was just to kind of spark an idea for you to get thinking about how important these things are, and determining again at what stage of life you're at. Maybe you have something that's a little bit more top priority than others at different stages. So again, it is important to check this information out. Again, if you guys are ever interested in getting in touch with anyone, connect@dupaco.com is the email address. If you guys are looking to get immediate responses or follow-ups from myself or a couple other people on the team here, that is what that email is set up for. So like I said, if you ever have any questions, never a dumb question, especially with finances. There's a lot of information. And if you're not dealing with it on a day-to-day basis, it can be intimidating. So don't let that prevent you from starting this stuff. We're here at Dupaco for you. We're here to help you get started, progress through, and then hopefully get you to the end in a timely manner for whatever you're trying to do. That is all I have for tonight's session. Um, like I said again, I can't thank you guys enough. Really appreciate you guys tuning in. Kind of bittersweet. This is the last one. I know Tony really wanted to be here tonight, but he had some other obligations going on. So stay tuned for the future. We are kind of in talks, and we have some different things in the works that we're going to be trying to implement. I know with our Dupaco Connect located in Cascade, in the Cascade Innovation Building, we're going to be looking to do a lot more things there. I know we've kind of floated some ideas with, hopefully this stuff's a little bit better here next year, but possibly having some live Q&A sessions there, whether it be actually in person at the building or online, whatever we can do. And then, like I said, we kind of got some other ideas. I don't want to spoil all the fun. I'm hoping to pique your interest, and hope you guys are watching out for those things. I know our marketing team, our marketing department, they do an awesome job with letting everyone know of these different things that we're going to be doing, whether it be virtually, in person, events in the community. So, if you guys follow our Facebook page, like I said, get on YouTube. I know we're on LinkedIn, other social media platforms. Subscribe to emails. I know we're really good about sending out different things, like I said, we're doing in the community, different promotions, different kind of things that we're offering to all our members. Because, again, we can't do all this stuff without you guys. We appreciate it. And again, anything we can do to help you guys out or take some stress off your plate or ease your mind. Now, there's a lot of stuff going on this year, and whatever we could do to kind of make this a smoother transition for you, we would love to help in any way. I am going to stay on here just for a couple minutes. If anyone does have any questions, please feel free to go ahead and comment those, and I can answer those the best of my ability. Like I said, we will be sending this video out here. You guys should receive that within the next week. Again, it's just going to be a link that does contain access to the video if you would ever like to view that again. Like I stated before, also, if you want to check these videos out, Dupaco's YouTube channel, Flat Dollar. Go ahead, get on YouTube, search that. You can not only view these videos from this webinar series, all 6 sessions, but also some other content, some great videos, some other cool educational stuff for you guys. Because again, that's what this is supposed to be. It's supposed to be educational. Hopefully you were able to get some great ideas, get some tips, get some good information. Hopefully myself and Tony, we didn't bore you out of your minds. We didn't put you to sleep. So again, I'm going to stay on the line here just for a few minutes just to see if there is any questions. If not, again, I want to thank you guys for tuning in. We really appreciate you. Hope you have a good evening, and I hope to see you again in the future next year, 2021. Stay tuned. Again, thanks, guys. Have a great night.